Hey, it's CJ. Welcome to the Rundown. Tonight I have Ro, the host of the Scarif podcast, and that's the Scuttlebutt. He's coming in from Chicago to sit down with us. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to start the Rundown.
Hi, this is Quincy Briscoe. To all my fans, don't drink and drive.
And I'm really excited about this next show because we got a special guest coming on. But right now, I'm going to go around the table, introduce our panel of guests. To my right is the fabulous Quincy Briscoe. What's going on, Quincy?
Not much, not yet anyhow. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm knee deep in podcast work. You know, TC's got he's cracking the whip on my back.
Really?
And to my left, the celebrity stalker, none other than the infamous South Boston Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, CJ. I'm glad to be hanging out. It's good that you caught me. You know, I just
Good
came,
to have you.
Yeah, just came down to the studio to grab my to grab my record or something like that, and you guys were working. So glad to be sitting in here.
You're part of the furniture. We always have to have you on this show.
Yeah.
And to my right, my mentor, the legendary TC Restani.
What's going on there, CJ? Unbelievable. Back here again on the Rundown, and you have a big-time guest. Why don't you introduce him?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to run down some pop culture tonight with an expert. And he's been on the show before. We got Ro from the Scarif podcast.
Unbelievable. Back here. Let's give a big round of applause.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. How is everybody doing? Thanks for having me. This is going to be fantastic. How is everybody?
We're doing fantastic out there. You know, we're over here, you know, in Boston, Massachusetts, and you're out there in Chicago.
Chicago.
That's right. Having a slice of pizza. Did you guys know it is National Cheese Pizza Day?
You know how I knew that?
How'd you know that?
My good friend Lisa Ann tweeted that out.
Very nice.
I didn't know that.
I did know that. Unbelievable. Yes, it is National Cheese Pizza Day. You must have amazing pizza in Chicago. That deep dish stuff, right?
We got all kinds of stuff. Things, we got slices, we got triangle slices, square slices, quadrilateral slices, whatever kind of slice you want, we got it right here in Chicago.
The square slices we call Sicilian in this part of the world.
That's right. You can get them in the North End. They're thick. We got beach pizza.
We got beach
New
pizza.
York style.
Beach pizza is the best. I love beach pizza.
I love it. Love it. You
Yeah.
guys like beach pizza?
Nice.
Ro, when you come
What
here,
is it?
Yeah. Well,
Beach
it
pizza.
depends on the beach. I love Salisbury beach pizza.
That's right.
Well, I'm curious, how come they call it beach pizza?
Basically, they cook the pizza on the sand. That's
That's
why.
right.
That's what they do.
On the
very nice.
sand?
No, I'm just kidding, Quincy. It's a beach. You know a beach, right? Where the ocean comes in.
Yeah.
They
Waterfront
have
pizzerias.
they have a pizza joint that's right on the beach.
That's right.
So it's beach pizza.
Oh,
No place to sit. You walk up. They give you a paper plate and a napkin. You pick your pizza, and you just move on down the beach.
That's right. If you want to feed the fishes with it, you can do that too.
The seagulls. Yeah, absolutely.
You ever give a seagull an Alka-Seltzer?
No.
Don't.
No, they explode.
I've never done that, but it's an urban rumor.
I would imagine you could get pinched for that.
Well,
Go down there like
you ever seen some of those?
probably more of a talking to.
You ever seen some of those drunks down at Kelly's on the beach? They'll throw anything at a seagull.
Oh yeah, that's
I've
what I
been
mean.
one of those
Yeah,
drunks at the Kelly's.
Yeah, the police would probably give you a good talking to. They probably wouldn't mind at all if you went around killing their gulls, because those gulls suck. They're a nuisance.
So, Ro, what's going on with you?
Not much, man. Just enjoying the evening. Busy evening for me. Got off of work and doing some editing. I'm a little behind on the editing, and later on, I usually on Thursdays I do a Quantum Leap stream
Wow.
with some other folks, and I was getting prepared for that. That happens later on at 9 o'clock my time.
That
10 o'clock your time.
That happens
but,
in the future.
yeah.
In the future.
Exactly.
Fantastic. We're talking pop culture down here. We're talking Ro. He's probably the pop culture master of the Midwest.
He is.
And what's been going on in your pop culture world there, Ro?
Pop culture, yeah, it's it's funny, for folks our age. We and I say our age because I've seen CJ. I've seen the little gray in his beard. I know what I'm talking about. So it's
blonde, damn it.
It's one of those things really that you start to get nostalgic for the stuff that you grew up with.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays, I think every generation is going to say it was better back in the day. Get off my lawn, damn it. But it is. It's I mentioned Quantum Leap back in the mid '80s, '90s. But really, I think you do get nostalgic for the stuff that you grew up on, whether it's movies, music, whatever. Even commercials. I mean, I almost miss all the hey, where's the beef? All that stuff. So
Right.
it's wonderful stuff. It's things in pop culture that really obviously besides showing your age, but it's really it was a time that all that stuff was fun. I think we're getting away from enjoying media to a certain degree. Everything has to be polarized. Everything has to be, it's either my way or the highway. And I'd like to get back to just enjoying, some movies and shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not the same anymore.
I'm wondering, Ro, did you have a poster of Clara Peller on your wall as a kid?
No, but truth be told, the posters that I had in my room were Darth Vader, Ralph McQuarrie, Daisy Duke.
Wow.
If you can believe that.
I can. And TC's met her.
And what
Catherine
else?
Bach.
I don't know. Some other, like a TIE fighter or something. I don't know. But
She had a great
I
ass.
was a big nerd.
Unbelievable. Daisy Duke.
She had a great ass.
Well, she did. But my girl back in the day on Friday nights wasn't Daisy Duke.
Who was it?
It was Pam Ewing,
Really?
Victoria Principal.
Oh,
I was a
yeah.
Farrah Fawcett guy.
Well, she wasn't on Friday nights on CBS.
No, what was she on? Thursday nights?
ABC was where Charlie's Angels was on.
What night?
Being that was on in 1975 when I was 4.
Come on.
I'm going to have to say it was probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Ah,
Don't quote me on that. But
Well.
Central Mountain Time, I don't know. My favorite angel of all time is definitely going to be Jacqueline Smith. No question.
Yes.
there you go. Who's your favorite angel, Jeff?
I'll agree with you there.
Yeah, like she was quite good, but like later on, Tanya Roberts came along.
Oh, yeah.
So and I've always loved her, her as an angel and in the Beastmaster and all the sexy roles. But
I love
like
the
Tanya
Beastmaster.
Roberts was my favorite.
Remember when she died twice a couple years ago?
Oh yeah. She had that greedy
How do you
husband.
die twice?
Well, her greedy husband wouldn't give the correct news. Said no, she's not dead. She's just in a coma.
And then she
But
was
has-
dead.
Yeah, but she has some asshole husband who was hoarding her body.
Oh, wow.
She's the only angel that has died twice.
Unbelievable. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Quincy, did you have a favorite angel? Did you watch Charlie's Angels?
Oh, yeah, I watched some of those.
Really?
Yeah?
Who was your favorite?
Who'd you like?
I guess it was Jacqueline Smith.
She made me feel tingly when I didn't even know what tingly was at the age of 6, all right?
Unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable.
She's the excuse
man.
why I only like brunettes, too.
Real?
Yeah,
You don't
I
like
can
anyone?
believe that. I can see that.
Yeah. You're not a blonde guy at all?
It depends on the blonde.
Name one.
Barbara Eden.
Yeah.
Obviously, our executive producer, Abby.
Well, she's taken.
blonde. I don't care if she's taken or not. She's still blonde.
she's
I
gonna
guess
get
Suzanne
married.
Summers.
Oh, yeah. Suzanne Summers would definitely on the. You know who else? Rhonda Shear from USA Up All Night.
Okay.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
She was my very first celebrity interview.
And believe it or not, when I saw her on TV, I was up all night.
Really? Well, I was up all century. What are you talking about? But yeah, unbelievable. Which is fantastic. Did you have any posters on your wall? We heard what Ro had on his.
Did I?
Yeah.
I just told you I had Farrah Fawcett.
Farrah Fawcett.
And who else did I have?
I don't know.
That's about it. I mean, I had a lot of wrestling posters on my wall as a kid,
Really?
but I did have Farrah Fawcett. I had a great fun.
Speaking of wrestling posters, the only wrestling poster I had two of them. I had the Hart Foundation because they were my favorite tag team.
Okay.
And then Miss Elizabeth.
Oh,
That was my favorite poster.
there you go. And that's my favorite wrestler too, the Macho Man. And I had a fantastic poster with him and Miss Elizabeth on my wall. Oh yeah.
What about you, Jeff? Have any posters on your wall?
Well, when I was about in my teens, I had the Samantha Fox posters. But
I want to have some fun.
You met her, didn't you? Like grab her?
Yeah, like no, I didn't grab her or anything. Like I put her on the phone with my brother. He was all drunk and everything. She just didn't appreciate the whole SPG experience the second time I met her. But it's okay. It's okay. They don't think of it all that often. I would imagine. But
Did she get her start in porn, or I have the wrong Samantha?
No, Samantha Fox got her start as like a page 6 girl.
Okay.
And then worked her way into the music industry.
Right.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
I mean, over in England, you could open up their local newspaper and see topless girls.
What's wrong with this country? God damn it!
I know. Didn't we fight for freedoms like that over here?
Unbelievable, man.
yeah, I mean, the best we had back in those days were those swingers magazines. Remember Swing Shift and things like that?
You remember those, Ro?
Swingers.
Which ones?
Swing Shift. That was the #1 swingers magazine that you had, and it had all the ads in the back.
Huh.
Must have missed that one.
Yeah.
Must have missed that one. Yeah.
Speaking of, we're taping this in what year is this? 2024?
Yeah.
40 years ago, some of the greatest motion pictures of all time came out in 1984.
That's right.
When you think about it, that year there was blockbuster after blockbuster after blockbuster.
Absolutely.
Ro, in 1984, what were you going to the movies to see, and what was your favorite?
Wow. The other day I posted what is on Twitter. I posted what was the best decade when it comes to movies, and you're right. There were a lot of really, really great movies in 1984. I mean, that whole decade. We'll never get another decade like that again. So much variety, so much creativity, so much. There's like just I don't know a cool factor with everything, all those movies that came out. What were some of my favorite movies? I mean, obviously the original Dune came out there. Top Secret, comedy wise.
Wow.
Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Gremlins.
Did I mention Buckaroo Banzai? Yeah, The Never Ending Story, which is a classic cult hit.
That's right. Also, The Last Starfighter.
Yes.
Ooh, one of my favorites.
That was really great.
Yeah,
and
the Goonies, that grabbed me pretty good.
That was 85.
Oh, what are we talking
was-
about?
yeah.
84?
84.
Right. 16 candles.
So Police Academy.
Ooh, there we go.
Ro, I don't know if you know this, but Jeff has a hot on for
Big time.
Police Academy. It's his Back to the Future.
That's right.
Well, that's okay.
So he's so excited because we just told him today that the Rhode Island Comic Con is having a Police Academy reunion, all the people who are still alive. So Steve Gutenberg's
wow.
going to be there. Lieutenant Harris is going to
Gonna
be
be
there.
unbelievable.
Proctor's going to be there. Sweet Chuck is going to be there. So all these.
Is Bobcat going down?
He never does these shows.
No. And
He
Kid
doesn't need
Control's
to.
not
He's a
going.
huge director now. And
Yeah,
he's
he's huge,
pretty well
all right.
paid.
I didn't realize
Huge.
this until maybe a couple years ago. You know, he was the director for Jimmy Kimmel Live.
No. What fucking movie is Bobcat Goldthwait directing?
Well, he directed that. He directed that really fucked up clown movie with Mrs. Brady. What was that
Well,
movie?
it was
that
called
Shakes the
Shakes the
Clown.
Clown. Yeah, he did direct that. That was his first one, but he's directed a few tearjerkers, like that one, Teacher of the Year, Father of the Year, with Robin Williams. It's
The late Robin Williams.
Is that the movie where his kid gets caught jerking off in a closet hanging
Oh yeah, I
himself?
told you about that many times to rent it out. That movie's a trip and everything, and it's a lot of people don't know this, but Robin Williams actually discovered Bobcat Goldthwait back in the 80s.
Oh, I think he discovered jerking off in a closet hanging from a rope.
Oh no. Though.
Underrated 84 movie. It's got to be Supergirl with Helen Slater, right?
Well, maybe in your world.
One of my first crushes.
See? I'm not the only
I
one.
didn't say she's good looking. I just say the movie was shit.
I didn't think it was shit. Did you think it was shit, Ro?
Look, when we were kids, we weren't really going for the plot, if you know what I mean.
And I saw it in the theater opening weekend, and I remember Faye Dunaway was in there, and she lived in one of those haunted houses that she lived in one of those haunted house rides. Yeah, that's what that was.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
all right.
that was with Faye Dunaway's lair, and she lived with that lady that was in friggin' Midnight Cowboy. But I did like, yeah, you're right. It was a terrible movie.
I mean, when you come off of Superman and Superman 2, I don't even count Superman 3 or 4.
No.
But, another fantastic movie that came out in 1984 was one of my all-time favorites, is Romancing the Stone.
Ooh. That's one of my favorite movies.
Because if that movie wasn't a hit, there would never have been a Back to the Future.
Well, why do you say that?
Why do I say that?
Because
Yeah.
Robert Zemeckis directed it,
Correct.
didn't he?
He had
but-
an awful track record at the box office. Anything that Spielberg produced for him prior to Back to the Future was
Crashed
a
and
bomb,
burned.
was a dump. So he said, I have to go out and direct something that does not have Steven Spielberg's name attached to it.
And that movie was a knockout.
And that came out of nowhere, left field. Michael Douglas
Right.
producing.
Right.
And now once he did that, it was a sleeper hit. It was a minimal budget, made a gazillion dollars. Everybody started knocking on his door. What do you want to do next? Well, I'm going to go back to Steven Spielberg. He always had faith in me. And he always wanted to make this time travel movie, and the rest is history.
Unbelievable. And it is. Because that, is probably the biggest movie to come out of that era, I think.
And in the 80s?
Absolutely.
Oh, I'd have to say
Top 3.
I'd have to say that, but Empire Strikes Back was there.
Yeah, no, I know.
But Back to the Future for me is the quintessential greatest 80s. It's an 80s film. Empire Strikes Back is not an 80s film, it's a Star Wars film.
Right.
So that's like there is that's its own category. But when you think 1980s, every time you listen to like radio, Back to the 80s, Saturday night, they always have Back to the Future clips playing and everything.
Well, aside from that, let's ask everyone in the room then. Aside from Empire Strikes Back, we'll take that off the table.
Okay, and Return of the Jedi. That's also
right.
a Star Wars movie.
Right, and I would pick both of them too.
Sure.
And you just picked Back to the Future. Jeff, what would you say is the biggest movie to come out of that decade? And then we're going to ask Ro and Quincy.
Well, I would have to say, no, E.T. was 82, right?
It's in the 80s, so it counts.
Yeah, you can pick that.
Yeah, I was about to add that Revenge of the Nerds didn't do so well in the theater.
No, you're right, but it became a cult classic on cable.
It is.
Mm-hmm. But you're right. But the biggest one I think represents the 80s to me was the Goonies.
Okay.
That's a good
Represented the
pick.
kids and the adults.
Yep.
So I would have to say Goonies.
Quincy, favorite 1980s movie?
I'll have to say it was Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh,
great
good
pick.
choice.
Oh, thank you.
Now, why did you like that one so much?
I guess the way it was written, and he came out, hey man, what the fuck you doing? This is the cleanest police car I've ever been in. I'm not gonna fall from the banana turnpike.
So of all the 80s dialogue, no, I am your father, roads where we're going, we don't need roads. What the fuck are you doing, motherfucker? That's your favorite line of dialogue in the 1980s.
Excellent. I
You
love
gotta
it.
go with it. I mean,
You know what?
It's a great
He's good.
pick.
I'm not disputing it, Quincy.
Great pick. I'm going with Top Gun.
Really?
Oh, come on, iconic. Yeah, outside of Star Wars, Back to the Future, and the movies that all you guys just mentioned, I'm going with Top Gun.
I don't think there's any teenager who didn't have that
Danger
soundtrack.
Zone.
I love the
Absolutely.
soundtrack.
How about you, Ro?
The Ark of the Sun God. No, I'm just kidding. That was in 1984, but nobody saw it. I'm gonna go with I'll Be Back, the Terminator.
Ah. And then we got an honorable mention with Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, but
It's one of my favorite. I can never get enough of it. I notice something different every time I watch it.
that's under the Lucas umbrella, so it automatically is already on people's top three
Yeah,
lists.
absolutely.
Listen, Ro's an expert in pop culture. I'm going to ask, did you guys ever watch the American Pop Culture TV, I'm sorry, not TV, podcast trivia show with Joe Parisi?
No.
Can't say I do.
He just had a guest on, and they just uncovered something, and I thought it was pretty good. They just found, after all these years, the original tape of an iconic stock sound effect that's been used in countless films and TV series, originating from the 1950 movie Distant Drums.
So it's not Booger's burp from Revenge of the Nerds?
It is not.
Okay.
Is it the Heisman Scream?
That's exactly it. I was going to ask Ro, but we got it. Yes. Ro, did you know that?
Yeah, absolutely.
They just dug this
What
up.
was it, the Wilhelm Scream?
Wilhelm Scream. It's been used in hundreds of movies.
I was right about that?
You
Jeez.
were. Did you know that there's 6 different variations of that?
I did not.
We're going to show those 6 variations.
I did not know there were 6. So every one of the Brady kids could do their own Wilhelm Scream?
I guess so.
Well, I'd like to see Bobby try one. or Peter when his voice is changing.
Hey, Ro, have you seen the new Beetlejuice movie?
I have not. I was just asking my group over at the Red 5 Network if they've seen it. I've seen a lot of, reviews saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, and some other reviews that said it was a waste of time.
I don't pay attention to those reviews. I'll go and see it myself. Did you know that they taped some of
absolutely.
that right here across the street from where we're taping?
Nice.
Yeah.
We're recording in Boston, but there's a little town north of us called Melrose, Massachusetts, where Jeff grew up. He's down there. He's a representative of that community. And in his actual neighborhood, right around the corner from his house, is where they filmed the treehouse scenes that you see in the trailer.
That's right.
So we have...
Yes, Melrose is very, very boring Leave It to Beaver type.
And now we have Beetlejuice to claim for it.
It's a very quaint little
But
town.
Beetlejuice wasn't there. It was just Jenna Ortega.
Speaking of the beaver,
Well, you could spotted the director, Tim Burton. He was there.
We actually, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's some pictures I actually took on set of Beetlejuice 2. And you can see there Tim Burton in his director's chair under a tent with Jenna Ortega. But I'm going to go see it. I was a fan of the original Beetlejuice in 1988.
hell's yeah.
I thought that was a fantastic movie. You know what made it good? Beetlejuice wasn't in every frame of the movie.
Right, yeah, Michael Keaton.
Right.
No, he carried the movie without being in every scene.
And from what I heard from this one in an interview that he did, he's in this movie 1 minute longer than he was the original.
Oh, wow.
So we don't get Beetlejuice thrown down the toilet.
Sure.
But you'll go see it, right? Were you a Beetlejuice fan, bro?
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of
Absolutely, I'll go
Beetlejuice?
see it. Yeah. You know what? I discovered it late in life. It wasn't like something that I went to go see when it first came out. But through my discovery of the director and the rest of his great works, I kind of meandered into Beetlejuice land. And yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
My favorite part of Beetlejuice, the movie was great, but Danny Elfman's score was really awesome.
Oh, yeah. He's always
all his
great.
scores are great.
Hey, Quincy, did you know Danny Elfman was in Back to School?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. He's the singer of Oingo Boingo.
That's very important.
Yeah, he's the guy who sings that.
It's the dead man's party.
Dun-dun-dun.
Who could
If you ever need to know where you can see Danny Elfman, he was singing at Thornton Mellon's party.
Sam!
Unbelievable. You know who will not be making an appearance in Beetlejuice 2 is Jeffrey Jones.
No.
Because he had a little kid touching problem going back in the day.
That kind of soured the whole experience of having him back on the set, I think.
I think that was, remember that convention that had booked him?
Yeah, who does that?
And then they open up a can of whoop ass, as Stone Cold would say. And everybody's like, are you crazy?
Yeah, that lasted about 10 minutes
I mean,
online.
they were like, who thought this was a good idea?
No one's getting in his fucking line to get the autographs. Jeffrey Jones?
Actually, people would have. You know why?
Howard the Duck?
Because he's controversial.
I guess.
When are you going to get him? I can see why they wanted to do it, but the backlash they had of it, they'd be like inviting OJ over to a
It's
a
like
party.
buying a
Now,
John Wayne
let's say you
Gacy
need to
painting.
complete your Ferris Bueller autograph collection. You would need them.
That's true. You would need him.
Okay, so you can go to his jail cell and get him, I guess.
Is he in jail?
I don't. He should be, but I don't know if he is or isn't.
Unbelievable, man.
That's fantastic. Beginning back to 1984, Ro, The Terminator, your all-time favorite movie from 1984?
You know what? I wouldn't say it's my all-time, but it's definitely up there, top 5. Obviously, we mentioned a few good ones. Obviously, Ghostbuster. Can't forget Karate Kid. Right?
Oh, how can you?
Right? Absolutely.
But yeah, it's up there. It's up there.
I enjoyed. See, I didn't appreciate Terminator as much when I was a kid. I appreciate it more as an adult, and it just has a more of an impact. Like Close Encounters. When I was a kid, I saw Close Encounters. Like, this is kind of boring. But as an adult,
Right.
you're like,
It's phenomenal.
It's like, wait a minute, this movie's fantastic. I don't know if I could do what Richard Dreyfuss did at the end. Could just leave everything.
Oh, I totally could.
You could?
Absolutely. I'd
but see,
fucking
you have
piss
kids.
off.
I don't. But you could abandon your kids and go up into space for God knows how long.
Yeah. You're asking me to share in the concept of the film here. Am I ready to write off my entire family?
Well, that's what he did.
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Those were some annoying kids.
listen, let's...
Cry, baby! You
And let's slice some bread here. I'm convinced that when I was a kid, and I'm not going to get all creepy here, but that I saw a UFO.
I was going to say you were abducted.
No, I know. I wasn't probed. I wasn't abducted. But I'm telling you.
CJ got probed.
Well,
by an Imperial probe droid? Ooh. Those would look like those would hurt. All those little tentacles.
Well, I mean, where do you think I
all
hid those stolen
needles
plans?
and shocks? Yeah, shocking needles and stuff like that. Yeah.
No, I'm serious. When I was a kid, I saw what I thought was a UFO, and it returned several times for a period of 3 weeks.
Really?
Same spot, same time at night. Yeah, and it was like a purplish glow, hovering over my house. I thought I was fucking seeing things.
What city was this?
This was in Lawrence, Massachusetts.
Lawrence, Massachusetts. Sure, was there some chemical plant exploding?
It could have been, but you know something? I mean, what is this, like Greg Brady when...
Well, that's what he just did, the sound effect.
Oh, that's right. I don't know.
Little guy,
I would like to think that I was visited.
Little guys from Kaplutis.
Yeah, I mean, But getting back to the question, could I piss off this planet and leave my family behind? No, of course not. But I don't know.
What about you, Ro?
I think it's kind of cool.
Ro, could you leave everything?
Would you leave your family?
If E.T. came down tomorrow and said, hey, listen, come on.
No, I probably wouldn't. I would be okay with letting CJ go and do the research and have the experience. See ya, CJ.
Even with all your interest in sci-fi, especially the Star Wars saga, you wouldn't. If the Millennium Falcon showed up tomorrow,
I'm fucking gone.
With Chewbacca and Rey driving and saying, "Listen, come with us," you ain't going.
Well, if you put it that way,
well,
maybe with a bottle of tequila.
There you go. Yeah, get chewy little sauce.
How you doing, Ray?
She's looking fine in her I don't know, mid-age, I guess.
Mid-age? She's only 32.
That's mid-age.
Maybe in your eyes, 32. Maybe that's a kid.
So I'm 50. Does that make me an old man?
Yes.
Well, welcome to the club.
Hey, I'm old too.
We grew up in the best era, though.
We did. The 80s are it. Just why everybody here should say is physically fit as we possibly can, so we can see the 80s once again. But instead of a 19 in front of it, a 20.
And I'm pissed because we know where some time machines sleep. Can we get them to work?
Well, I'm going to go hang a clock above my toilet and hit my head on the edge of the sink.
Yeah.
No one asked you to laugh. So, Ro, can you tell us about what you guys do on the Red 5 network?
Well, you know what? It's just a group, a collection of content creators, whether it's YouTube or podcasts. And, we all kind of share a little bit of DNA. Not all of us are only Star Wars. We talk a lot about, movies and films and shows.
Star Trek.
I want to say we are a little Star Wars skewed, but we talk about all sorts of movies and films and projects and stuff like that. So it's we're just having fun. One of the biggest reasons that Brad, my Scarif Scuttlebutt co-host, and I started the network really was just to connect with people, to support other content creators, to see what everyone had to say about the stuff that we loved, and maybe some of the stuff that we didn't love, but just a way to converse, a way to check each other's notes, support each other in this, in this fandom,
right?
And really just have fun and watch each other grow.
What are some of the things that you'd like to talk about other than Star Wars that you just said you don't like, but you like talking about it? What do you think would be on the top of that list?
Let's see. I mean, we talk about everything. Obviously, if we don't like a certain aspect of the franchise of Star Wars, we'll talk about it and we'll say why we don't like it, and then move on to the next topic. But again, we talk about current movies, Star Trek, which I call the other white meat. So a little bit of everything.
I'm a big Star Trek fan, and the last time we had you on the rundown, we were talking about how Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, little Spielberg dust is
That's
missing.
right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I lost you. What was that?
I said the last time we had you on the program, we were talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We were talking about how it had a little Spielberg dust missing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's, it's I don't know if it's one of those movies that I think maybe I watched one and once was enough, but I might go back to it, in the future and just kind of take a look at it after the fact. But yeah, I think we hit it on the head the last time we were talking about it. It does have a missing element, and I think that's Spielberg element is what's missing. And I'm really upset and kind of sad that when they got together, Harrison Ford, Lucas, and Spielberg, they kind of unofficially vowed to do 5 movies together if they could. And it's unfortunate that they didn't keep that promise. I know, this film was kind of bogged in red tape, timing wise, when it came to Spielberg and getting Lucas back on board and stuff like that. But it would have been nice to get all three to get back and just kind of finish the story. I know a lot of people were, dogging on the last film. But I think Crystal Skull to me is, for me, it's better than Dial of Destiny. And I think one of the biggest reasons for me is obviously all three of them are together. I know a lot of people were not into the whole interdimensional alien aspect of Crystal Skull, but the fact that there are a lot more of the smaller parts of that film that really made that film a lot more enjoyable for me to watch than Dial of Destiny. You had Karen Allen back as Marion. I think her performance was incredibly unique and fantastic, and you can tell that she was having a lot of fun. Back in the role, back in the saddle, and it was infectious. I can feel it, and I appreciate her performance in that film. Right. Obviously, John Hurt was fantastic, but there's a lot of little things in that movie that made it better for me than Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
I agree.
Kate Blanchett was also pretty good in that, in that role as
she was.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
A lot of people don't know she was pregnant during the filming of that too.
I didn't know that. She was?
Yeah, she was.
No kidding.
Who's the father?
Anakin.
Yeah, whoever her husband is. But
Whoa, good answer.
like the way you think.
Now, here's another question I want to ask you, Ro. Being that you are a Star Wars aficionado and love it like we do down here, do you think it's time that old Kathleen Kennedy got the boot?
You beat me to the punch.
Yeah, and actually, I had Scott Rifen on our show that I'm hopefully dropping tomorrow. That was one of the questions we asked. Who would we pick once Kathleen Kennedy steps down? And I think she's not asking for another extension in 2025.
Thank
so
Christ.
We might get in.
I mean, how old is she? She's got to be pushing 70 or in her 70s.
Yeah, she's 71.
Okay, because she's married to Frank Marshall.
Who's 95.
Right.
and she was, basically she got her start in the movie business because she was married to Frank Marshall and Spielberg's secretary.
It's a complete fucking train wreck what Star Wars has done. This Acolyte has pissed me off.
It's not just Star Wars.
I wrote 5 articles on my... How disgraced.
I remember that. But I want to answer your question, Ro. That who did you pick that you'd like to see run Lucasfilm if she takes a hike?
Well, you're going to have to listen to the episode tomorrow, but one of the things that we decided that I think somebody from the outside kind of has to come in and take inventory of what has happened, what has worked and what hasn't. And I think only someone from the outside that might be a little more impartial to the Star Wars galaxy. And I know running Lucasfilm is more than just Star Wars. You've got Indiana Jones, you've got any other projects. I think they've kind of missed the mark when it comes to creating or continuing the franchise to entertain, to provide hope where there is none.
There's none. Yeah,
they've kind of stepped away from what George Lucas's original plan for this message really to be. Well, especially with the Acolyte, I know we've got a lot of people talking about the fact that the Acolyte features bad guys and everyone is loving it. It's kind of against what, from my perspective, is kind of against what Lucas went for. But I think someone from the outside, from the business entertainment world, might be a good fit
Well, tell us,
to kind
because
of
our
maybe
show's
bring
airing
back-
after yours, so you got to tell us. We got to know.
Let's even do the game. He said, CJ's right. This is airing after your thing. Give us the initials and let's see if we can guess it.
There you go.
Let's
Come on.
see. You know, we had a whole bunch of different guesses. I'm not sure if we, because I recorded this like 2 weeks ago, so I don't remember a lot of it. But we didn't get into specifics, but we got into the concepts of who we thought were a better fit. And I know a lot of people throw around, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, and I think. It has to come down to someone that is not involved in the day-to-day production of a product for Star Wars, for Disney and Lucasfilm. I think it has to. It's a fine line when it comes to heading a studio of this magnitude.
If you don't want to tell us, that's fine. We can listen to it on your podcast. But I think I actually responded to your tweet, and my person that I thought would be great would be Ron Howard.
Really, the
remember
director
that,
of
yes.
Solo.
Well, he has a connection to Star Wars. He was a protege of George Lucas.
Yeah.
His daughter directed the greatest, episodes of the Mandalorian.
Hands down.
And he's been in the business since he was a kid, and everybody respects him.
That's right. And right. He's got
And he's up there in age. He really doesn't have to prove anything anymore.
no,
Right,
and he doesn't put out
exactly.
the quality of production.
Right.
Is
So
strong,
if I was Disney, and Kathleen Kennedy wanted to go off to that galaxy far,
like
far
that pick.
away, I would say give old Ron Howard a call.
Give old Opie a call.
Yeah.
would he take it though?
Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope.
I mean, would he take it? Do you think Ron Howard would want this job? I mean,
If it could secure
There's a lot of stress.
if it could secure his daughter a job as a director, absolutely he would.
that's not a
Yeah.
bad way to look at it.
He has that second generation of Howard that are out there. I think Ron Howard would be a fantastic choice. If not, I can't think of anybody else that that would be likable, bankable,
Right.
and really doesn't open his mouth like Mark Hamill does. Right? He keeps himself, to himself. I think he would be the perfect choice. And I think if George Lucas, they still have to appease him. He's the godfather of the galaxy far,
But
far
are
away.
they really though? I mean, they've sidestepped everything this man did in
to
this
make the old-
past
but to make-
$188 million waste of a
But
project.
to make the old man, because he's an old man, George Lucas is an old man. I'm
Yeah.
not being anything we don't know.
and he sold this.
And he sold it on his
What
own.
kind of creative control does he really have?
But it would make him feel better knowing on his deathbed, which I hope it doesn't happen for like 20 years.
Right.
But if Ron Howard was in the seat,
I would have to agree with you.
he would be all ecstatic about that.
Oh, I agree with you.
Because Ron Howard is like the son that he never had until he adopted his kids.
It's true.
So
Right.
that would be my choice of Ron Howard. Don't you agree, Jeff?
Yes, I concur.
Well, I
Good
can give
choice,
you a
good
clip of
choice.
Ron Howard. Hey, crew, why don't you go kiss a duck? I said, go kiss a duck, Marblehead. And that came from the classic American
TV show
Graffiti.
Oh, great.
Great-
Forgot all
Right.
about that.
Look at that. And steps of Kevin Bacon, they say. Harrison Ford, who was in Star Wars, was the first movie he made, I think.
Harrison Ford made? No, he was a bellhop in a movie back in the 60s, but the first movie he made with George Lucas
Was American Graffiti.
was American Graffiti.
Yes.
A fabulous movie.
And we talked about Suzanne Summers earlier. She was in it as well.
The second one, it was okay, but the first one, it's a classic because Wolfman
second
Jack.
one?
Yeah, it's called
they-
More American Graffiti.
More American Graffiti, but the first one's a classic because they had they were at the burger place and antique cars. Yeah, when they were just
You're right.
cruising around one last look before graduation, before they went their own separate ways. And
But in the second one, a few of them went off to Vietnam. It was interesting.
I never saw the second one.
And it was shot in a weird way. It was shot like the documentary Woodstock, where they had different scenes going on.
Yeah, where
all
they
times.
split the screen into
Yeah.
three
It wasn't a
and
Lucas
then into
production.
four.
No, Lucas he was involved. He even said that in an interview. He goes, "I made American Graffiti. I made $1 gazillion. I make American Graffiti. Made nothing." So he didn't direct it or anything, but he was.
And
he
even
was part of
Harrison
it.
Ford was in the second one for a second.
As Bob Falfa.
Well, he
Did we
played a
cut
cop, but I think he played Officer Falfa.
All right. That's where the name Boba Fett kind of came from. That's what Lucas said a long time ago.
I heard that.
That Bob Falfa, Boba Fett, whatever. It's kind of like Grogu was George.
Right. Yeah,
So-
I know. We went with it. But I remember as a kid, my mother used to have the radio on, and I would listen to Wolfman Jack.
I just had that Wolfman Jack. And the days of like, Claricel. When you got a problem with your face, Claricel. He plays all the classical hits, including hits from American Graffiti.
Wolfman Jack.
Let's see if Ro gets this. Do you know what the sci-fi connection with Wolfman Jack is, Ro?
The sci-fi connection with Wolfman Jack? No.
You remember Battlestar Galactica 1980?
Oh, yeah, of
The
course.
Cylon showed up at a radio station that he was a DJ at.
Why do I remember that almost like...
The shit
Like
that
a
settles
faded
in
memory.
the crevices of your mind.
It was because it was ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Talking about something that, jumped the shark was Battlestar Galactica 1980. You remember the premise of this?
I do.
Oh, my God.
Kind of.
It came out in 1980, obviously. It came out, supposedly like 30 years after the original Battlestar Galactica because they couldn't get Starbuck back and they had a low budget and Richard Hatch didn't want to do it.
No.
So the only person they got
Really
back,
low budget.
it was
Adama
horrible.
was dead.
No, Adama was in like the first couple episodes.
Oh, he was?
And they finally made it to Earth. And remember Boxy, the little kid that was on the show?
Yes.
He's all grown up and was played by the guy from Adam 12. All right.
fuck.
And what's his name's son? Dick Van Dyke's son was his partner in crime. So basically they just recast Starbuck and Apollo, kind of like they
Right.
did with Coy and Vance on the Dukes of Hazzard.
Right.
And they finally made it to Earth, and the all-seeing wizard named Dr. Z, who they all worship on the Galactica, was Cousin Oliver from the Brady Bunch.
Shit, man.
No, this is
Robbie
Oh, man, Robbie Riss.
this was horrible. Like Adama is coming and going, the all-powerful Dr. Z, and he's sitting there with his glass on. Adama, you must land on Earth. It was ridiculous. And then who do they meet on Earth as a scientist? Mr. Brady.
Oh, it gets better.
Yes.
It was fucking stupid.
I never saw this, and I'm thankful that I have.
The premise for Battlestar Galactica 1980, do you guys know what the premise originally wanted to be? And I'll give you a hint.
Was it
Donald Belisario?
was it chips in space?
No, it was the Quantum Leap storyline.
Really?
that we were just talking
Yeah.
about?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Earlier in the show.
Belisario wanted the Battlestar Galactica, the two officers, to go back in time because one of the officers discovered a time machine where he figured if we can go back in time and eliminate Earth, then the Cylons in the future could take it over and not be defeated by the humans.
Wasn't that kind of what they did in Star Trek First Contact? When when they had the vortex.
I mean, it's one of those sci-fi Back to the Future tropes that is used constantly, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
If you really want, if people are listening to this, if you really want to have a laugh, find Battlestar Galactica 1980 on. It's got to be somewhere out there. But the only beauty of this is, I only think it was on for one season, so there may be like 7 or 8 episodes. And then it just
No,
disappeared.
they have it right at my local library. I'm going to run right out and scoop it up.
See, I like the original Battlestar Galactica, but Ro,
who doesn't?
maybe you can agree with me on this. The continuity on that show was way off.
The what?
The continuity on Battlestar Galactica, the TV, the ones in the 70s, because he had. It just didn't seem they followed up on stories. I mean, unless it was like a
it was-
two-parter.
right.
It's just like they had this, and then they went off to this, and it seemed like they went backtracked on things. It was just. I don't know if it was just lost in an
I
edit.
see that. I can kind of see that.
But as a kid, I
And
wasn't
then,
paying attention
for
to
Battlestar
continuity.
Galactica 1980, the only one worth watching is the last episode where they did bring Benedict. What's his name? Starbuck back.
that was a re-edit though of an episode on the original Battle when he's on that ice planet with a Cylon.
Right.
He never made it to Earth. It was just
No.
it was just a weird like okay it was probably like the November sweeps. We gotta get Starbuck on. He ain't gonna do it, so let's just rehash this episode and take outtakes or whatnot. It was just it could have been better. Like if Starbuck made his way to Earth, that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But it did. The show just
didn't happen.
never happened. And the guy who created Battlestar Galactica, Glenn A. Larson, was also the guy who created Knight Rider. That's why Kit goes woo 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 because that's an ode to the Cylons.
And I knew that with Knight Rider being my favorite TV show from that era.
And of course, who could forget the opening of the A-Team where Dirk Benedict is at Universal Studios and a Cylon walks by and he gives him a double look.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Best sci-fi show to come out in the 80s, though, we all know was
V. Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
Oh my God, yes.
I mean, V was fantastic, and the reboot they did in
Wish they would
2009
reboot
was
that.
so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was,
I didn't finish it.
oh, you're lucky.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Do you know what
Yeah.
you know who Kenneth Johnson was? Kenneth Johnson created V. He was also the guy who produced The Incredible Hulk,
Right.
and Bionic Woman, $6 Million Man, et cetera, et cetera.
That's right.
Obviously, V was based on World War II, the Nazis invading, the world, and they were all your friends, and joined the Hitler Youth, and it was like the Visitor Youth and whatnot. He had a grandiose plan that he wanted to do a mini-series every couple years for a decade, where the story would go on and on and on.
Right.
The first miniseries was a blockbuster, one of the biggest rated miniseries in the history of television.
Right.
And what happens when something becomes popular? The network takes over.
And
If that did marginally well, he probably would have been able to do the 10-year span. But since it was a huge deal, NBC wanted a sequel like next week.
And they fucked it up.
Kenneth Johnson did write it under a pen name. He didn't want his name attached.
What
to
was
it.
his pen name?
I don't even remember. You can go back and watch V: The Final Battle. Whoever wrote it, it's Ken Johnson under a pen name, but his name is in the credits as created by. But I always, as a kid, I read that in Starlog magazine, thinking about 10 years from now,
Right.
1993, they're still going to be doing V. That would have been awesome if they did. But once again, the bureaucrats took over and fucked it up.
Yep, they did. Did you like V, Jeff?
Oh yeah, I thought it was great and everything. And we met Mark Singer, and he was a fan, one of the nicest guys one of the nicest celebrities we've ever met. And because I liked V, but I love the Beastmaster. Second time I've brought that up in this episode. But he's a fantastic. But Mark, he was a fantastic guy. We had a few laughs. But
And I even asked him, I go, what did you think about V, the reboot? He goes, they paid me well for a cameo appearance, not as Mike Donovan. The rest of it,
He did say that.
oh
to
yeah,
you?
he hated it.
Wow.
They all did, the original
Yeah,
people.
everybody
I mean, the
did.
only people from the original show that were on there were Mark Singer as some other character.
Right.
Diana got killed by her daughter, like in the third episode. And I think that may be it. But it was just...
What do you think? You think they could bring this back and make it successful?
Well, the rumor has been going around for 20 years that he wanted to bring it back as a movie taking place
I think this
30
would be
30 to
great.
40 years later. But a lot of these people are getting long in the tooth, so it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
guess,
hard.
yeah.
It was only a matter of time before some of these people start passing away. And,
Yeah, I guess.
no one's going to really care about a computer-generated Mark Singer. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'd love to have it because it was such a fantastic story.
Yeah.
And it would have been great if they continued it, but then they did the whole lizard baby thing, and then they did
Oh,
that.
I love that. That was the best.
You like that? I mean, it was goofy. I'm not saying it
goofy,
wasn't.
but you had to love it. I mean, that stupid little plastic rubber alien baby that
Yeah,
was born.
it looked-
CG was bad.
It wasn't even CG. It was
Yeah,
a
it was
puppet.
practical effect.
It looked like a practical version of Godzuki from the Godzilla
Yes,
cartoon.
exactly.
It was horrible. And then the girl who became the Star Child, Jeff will know this, she became Megan from Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Jennifer Cook.
You got it.
Hey, there it is. We can't stomp
my,
Jeff.
My Rain Man mind at action.
Now,
Fart.
Now, Ro, one of the things, if you had your own studio, if you had control of any major studio in Hollywood, what would you bring back as a reboot and do it right?
Space 1999.
Oh, good chess. Yeah, that's right. You were talking about the Eagle the other day online.
Yes, God, I love that ship.
That was my
Yeah.
Millennium Falcon before I had the Millennium Falcon.
I still
Yeah.
have it. I still have the toy at home.
The big giant one.
Yes, I
that you
do.
could take the engines off in the cockpit and make a little smaller module.
Now, who's the guy
Yes,
from
God, I love
Space
that.
1999 who was also in Jason Takes Manhattan?
That I'm stumped on.
Yeah, I'm stumped too.
No, like the teacher in
Oh, no. He wasn't in Space 99. I know what you're talking about. He was on the final episode of the first season of Star Trek The Next Generation when they find a bunch of toy people from the 20th century frozen. And he wanted to know about what was going on in the stock market.
Okay.
That was the teacher in part Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out this actor's name and everything.
Well, we'll have to fact check that.
Now, who would you cast as the cast of Space 1999 today?
Well, that's tough.
Pedro Pascal. No, just kidding.
With or without the mask?
He's been phoning in a lot of his material lately.
Yeah, right.
I heard Ron Jeremy's going to be the Mandalorian in the next season to cut back on money.
Could be,
That's what I heard.
Yeah, well, he has brought in a lot of bounty cold and wet. So there was Barbara Bain, who we're going to meet in next month down in New Jersey. I can't believe she's still kicking.
Very nice.
I can't believe she was alive either. I think the last thing she did, Jeff, was what? The Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island?
Yes, and now that I'm looking at at the cast of Space 1999, so was that's what I talked about with Martin Landau when we met him.
That's
Remember?
right.
I sat down next to Martin Landau, fantastic actor, a teacher of Jack Nicholson when he was in college, and I said, really liked you in the Harlem Globetrotters and Gilligan's Island. He went,
He must have loved you for that.
No, you could see if I can dig up the picture, you can see he was he looks like he's squeezing out a huge shit or something like that. You can see the anger in his face, and he's clenching his
Well, the guy's
teeth.
an Academy Award winner, Ed Wood and whatnot. You're talking about the Harlem Globetrotters on Gilligan's Island. He must have needed an alimony payment or something to do that.
Probably.
I think they should bring back Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Oh, yeah.
Wiki.
I think, but you know what? Do it right and actually have
That'd be cool.
have Gil Gerard on. He's still kicking. He's still in good shape, and Aaron Gray still looks the same. I mean, all you got to do now is just find a different voice for Tweaky now that Mel Blanc's been gone for like 35 years.
Right.
But I mean, that was a show that had it all until they got to the second season where they brought in Hawk. All right.
Oh, God.
It was he looked like Ric Flair. It was horrible. It became like the Love Boat in space, literally.
The Love Boat.
Because if you watch that show, the second season of Buck Rogers, every episode ended the same way. They're on the bridge of the Searcher, and they're like waving like the shipmates off to the next adventure. It was horrible.
Yeah.
We can thank Fred Freiberger for that.
Fuck Fred Freiberger then.
Absolutely. He's the guy that changes every second season of a show because he thinks that people won't tune in to a series where they've seen this before. So he was responsible for the last season of the original series on Star Trek. That's why some of the stories were so weird. But same as Space 1999, everything just
That's what I
changed.
want to bring back.
He just was a weirdo.
This guy ain't still kicking, is he?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, good.
So the CJ's going to be able to meet Barbara Bain in a couple of weeks. Well,
I'm stoked.
You're stoked to meet Barbara Bain.
Yeah, you know why?
Why?
Because she's not long for this world.
So you're gonna get her signed, is what you're saying?
Yeah. Why not?
I'm just. Are you going to ask her if she has any stills from the castaways on Gilligan's Island, or because she was on the Harlem Globetrotters? I mean, on Gilligan's Island.
No, that won't be the photo I'm
Because
getting
her and
signed.
Martin Landau were the married couple on there. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Was she married to him in real life?
She was. Yeah.
yeah, I was about to say that.
So, but that's the show I'm bringing back. I'm bringing back the $6 Million Man
Would be the six
Nice.
billion.
Who would you cast?
as Steve Austin.
Steve Austin.
I want to make sure that I get his name pronounced right. If give me 1 second, and I hope we don't have to edit this in because brain mush right here. But who would I cast? Tom Hiddleston.
As a $6 million man.
Yeah, I think he could carry this show. I think he is very. What's the word I'm looking for?
Suave.
Yeah, I guess. But
Bionic.
he's also, but he's got a machismo about him at the same time. I mean, he just reminds me of Lee Majors a lot.
Really?
Yeah, I think it would be excellent. Excellent.
If
Hey,
they-
he looks good with his shirt off.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
You know what? These reboots need to do? Stick to the original. That's the problem with these reboots. Oh, let's make it more modernized. No,
Yeah.
people like it because what it was like 40 years ago. They don't
It's
care
true.
about it now.
It's true, but I
That's
think
my biggest complaint when it comes to the reboot of Battlestar Galactica. And I know it won awards and everybody loves it, but they changed too much for me. And I tried watching it twice. I just couldn't go for it.
No, I agree. I was like, wait a minute, Starbucks
liked
a
it.
girl in this one?
Yeah,
And,
you know, look
not
what they
that I'm
ca-
against that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
you know, but
Katie Sackhoff.
I know I never saw her naked.
No, Katie Sackhoff, who played Bo-Katan in The Mandalorian.
Okay,
Yeah, that was Starbuck.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I loved
Didn't know
Edward
that.
James Olmos as Adama. I bought the Blu-ray box set of the brand new Battlestar Galactica. Is it
Yeah,
as
like
great?
I said, it won awards and it
I
had some
loved it.
really wonderful performances,
it.
but I just couldn't get into it.
I agree with you. I tried it and I was like, listen, Starbuck to me is Dirk Benedict, Commander Dahmer's Lorne Green,
Yeah.
and Cylons are Cylons.
I get
all
it. I get it.
And the music,
Oh my God! Cylons are Cylons and not blonde babes.
right? Seriously, I mean, what's
No, I get it,
threatening
I get
about
it.
that?
I know. I think they didn't want to recreate the wheel, so to speak, and wanted something a little different. But I get it. I
Did
get
that
what you're
show come
saying.
out around the same time as Terminator 3 when it had that female Terminator?
What was that? Genesis?
No, I think it was just Terminator 3. It was the one where they remember Arnold Schwarzenegger had the coffin on his shoulder, and
Oh yeah.
and the Terminator was a woman, a blonde chick in it,
Right,
You know,
right.
who kind of looked like 7 and 9, but like a Terminator,
Right.
So I don't know if that came out
Rise
around the
of the
same time.
Machines.
Did that come out the Rise of the Machines? Did that come out the same time as the new Battlestar Galactica?
I think it did.
So I don't know if they played off each other. It's like, oh, if Arnold's good enough for Arnold, it's good enough for us.
Yeah. No, I get it.
No one cared.
That was
one.
2003.
And the best Terminator was T2 with Robert Patrick.
Oh yeah, of course.
Absolutely, hands down.
I mean, yeah, the one with what's his name there, Batman there, Christian Bale,
Christian
wasn't
Bale.
bad.
Yeah.
but I mean, they could have spent a little bit more money on that CG of Arnold.
Oh, yeah, they
that was
skimped.
that made Carrie Fisher look good in Rogue One. All right, and that was pitiful.
Mm.
I mean, literally, it's like, you know, yeah, you're Lucasfilm, and you did Ant-Man, and you made Michael Douglas look like Romancing the Stone Michael Douglas.
It looked incredible.
And it came out the same time as
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Yep.
And Carrie Fisher looked like one of the wax figures in one of
Right.
the wax museums. It was horrible.
And then you had Harrison in Dial of Destiny. I mean, I thought his CG was spot on.
yeah, just his
It
face.
looked
But when he ran and moved,
Oh,
he
wow.
didn't move like Harrison Ford.
No, I get it.
It was like,
And I think didn't they actually use Harrison Ford for some of the things? I mean, he's an older gentleman.
They did,
obviously.
and that's why he waddled.
Yeah.
On the top of the train there at the
talking about?
beginning.
Harrison Ford's in better shape at 84 than any of us in this panel right now.
That-
That's true.
What are you talking about?
It is true. How old is he?
He's like
80?
82.
Yeah, God love him.
Him and Patrick Stewart have the same birthday.
Is that right?
It's sometime in July. Don't quote me on it. I think it may be July 13th. I mean, look it up.
Wow, no.
If it's July 13th, I'm going to buy a lottery ticket. But him and I don't know if they're the same age, but I know they have the same birth date.
I'm looking it up right now. Hold on a second. Harrison Ford, July 13th,
Wow.
1942.
Wow.
Look at that. Sir Pat Stu as well. You should buy that fucking lottery ticket.
And that was the day they tried to whack Trump, too.
You've been busy out there in Chicago, huh? You've been. Did you get roped into filming over the DNC, Ro?
Yeah.
That must have been hectic.
All the days, but you know, I worked a day shift, so there was not the crazies didn't usually get there until after 2:00. So
Did
I
you
did
have
the early days with some live shows inside. So it was pretty uneventful.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
As most political conventions are.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, it's the explosive shit that happens on the street afterwards.
Yeah, all the crazies.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like when, like over here in this part of the country, in Boston, if the teams win,
Chicago is a little different than Boston.
Well, yeah, but if our team wins here, like when the Celtics won,
Yeah.
nuts were out tipping over cars and whatnot. They're crazy anything over anything.
It is true. We're passionate.
It is, well, there's a difference between passion and, you know, paranoia or pandemonium, I should say.
Right.
CG, you like that when you get a new Star Wars figure, right? You
Yeah, but the wife's been cracking down on me. And after the Acolyte, I got kind of soured, so I haven't been buying much at all.
No, I didn't watch The Acolyte. I will never watch it. In fact, I
it's
can't watch
garbage.
The Acolyte because Disney got rid of it, right? They pulled it?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm reading, and I don't know if I can trust what I'm reading, that they want to wipe it from canon. Did you hear anything about this, Ro?
That is just Twitter rhetoric.
Okay.
Oh, it is. But here's
the thing. They some folks that were really into the Acolyte decided to do an online petition. It generated some signatures, and somebody against them did another petition to say that they wanted Disney to wipe it from canon, and they got some signatures too.
Yeah.
It's just social media games.
Oh no, I mean, they've completely removed it from Disney Plus is what I'm saying.
No, they did not.
They did
No,
not.
it's
still there.
They did that to Willow though.
Yes, they did.
They yanked Willow completely gone. That was like,
Yeah, what happened with that?
I have no idea. I try to watch it. I liked Willow. I'm going to admit.
Was Warwick Davis in it?
He's Willow.
Wow. I mean, yeah, but
I enjoyed the Ron Howard movie in 1988. It was a good movie. Was it the greatest one ever? No, but it was cool to watch. And then when they announced Willow, I was like, okay, that'd be great to go back and visit that world. And then
Right.
I try to watch it, I'm like, what the hell is this? It's
It just
horrible.
was written bad.
It was horrible.
It was the same thing
And
with
I liked
the
the
Dark
actors. I liked all the
Crystal.
actors in
Remember
it.
that TV show? So they did one for the Dark Crystal too.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it had Gelflings and Skeksis.
They did a
But-
prequel to the Dark Crystal.
Really? They should just leave Henson
that's
shit
right.
alone.
Yeah, that's why I didn't follow it very well, because it wasn't the same characters and everything. It was a different Skeksis and a different Gelfling, but there was the world. But yeah.
That's the one thing, Ro, you must agree with me on this, is stop making shows about characters that we already know what happens to them and we know how they die.
I agree.
We don't need any of that crap anymore. I understood the prequels because once he put a Roman numeral on The Empire Strikes
Right, you
Back,
knew it was coming.
You knew somewhere down the line we were going to see 1, 2, and 3. I get that.
Right.
But all these other ones, let's do a show about Yoda. Let's do a show about this character that we know. Why? We know what happens. Who cares?
Yeah.
It has no drama in it because you know what?
Because they're out of ideas. That's why
Not only
they're
that,
out
but
of ideas.
There's no sense of loss because if he has a lightsaber battle, you know he's not going to die.
That is true.
So what's the
no,
point?
It is. There is none.
It's just fan service.
Pretty much, and they're
will-
dry for ideas.
Yeah, I
Dry for
will push
ideas.
back a little bit because sometimes, as you know, it's about the journey, not the destination.
That sounds like it'd be on a movie poster. But
I think that was the theme of the Griswolds, National Lampoon's Vacation. I think that's where they
if
got
they
that
start
one.
making prequels to Vacation, we're in trouble. All right, young Clark Griswold meeting Ellen at college.
Oh boy.
Hey, it probably will happen. But that's why my favorite trilogy is always going to be Left Alone.
Yeah, they'll never be able to do
Because
anything
the
with
creators of Back to the Future were so smart, they have it in their will that Universal can't do anything without the family's blessing. They're not going to do it. So
No.
those movies are locked in time, no pun intended, forever.
that. Good, and I'm glad because they'd probably cast like this idiot Tom Holland in Marty McFly's fucking role. It's they do an awful
There'll
job.
be a female Marty McFly. It should be a Cylon on the side. It's just
It could happen.
it don't.
It could happen, folks.
Not in our lifetime. It's not going to happen.
No, I don't think in any lifetime. Yeah. So, Ro, hey, we want to thank you again for coming on. Why don't you tell everybody where we can find you as part of the Red 5 network, the Scarif podcast? Give us the 911 on that.
Absolutely. All you have to do
The
is
full
turn over
1-1
to
on
your
that.
all you have to do is turn over to your smart speaker and ask Siri to play the latest Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. We are available wherever you get your other favorite podcasts, and the Red 5 Network. If you guys want to check out the rest of the team over there,
Ooh, Red 5
head over to
standing by.
bio.link/Red5.
I want to thank my panel of guests tonight. We had Quincy Briscoe. Quincy, thanks for coming out tonight.
Well, thanks for having this awesome guest.
It's
And
always
as you took all of yours, as a matter of fact,
it's always a pleasure to have you here. It's always a pleasure to have the man to my left who the infamous South Boston
Hey,
Jeff.
it's always glad to be here, boo boo. All right. Good to meet you, Ro, and everything. It was fun. It was real.
Absolutely, yeah.
My co-host, my mentor, TC Restani. Thanks for coming on, TC.
Unbelievable. I want to thank Ro because it's always a pleasure to talk to someone who has an expertise in pop culture.
He's an expert in cinema, movies, films, and more. You can follow Ro on social media. His social media will be in the podcast notes of this episode. Once again, I appreciate you coming on, buddy.